everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're back with the Hapax, and I really wanted to get into more generative and MIDI effects examples and tutorials, and really build a little beat from scratch with you guys and show you a couple of my favorite new ways of using those tools on the Hapax to do that. So let's jump right in. So I'm going to start with a completely empty sequence, and I only have 2 tracks or 3 tracks really. On track number 1, I'm going to have the generative melody playing, and I'm going to use this sound from the virus. On track number 2, I'm going to have some drums, courtesy of the Squarp Rampler, and then track number 3 will be just a lead melody, also courtesy of the virus, that I'm going to play over when this melody is playing. So right now there's nothing, absolutely nothing, and we're going to build this from scratch. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go step mode here, and we're going to set the length to be 4 bars, right? So I have a view here of the entire 4 bars. Next thing I'm going to do is to actually put those random notes in here. I'm going to hit algo, and then I'm going to just hit generate. So what the Hapax does, it basically uses these 4 or 5 settings to generate a collection of random notes. And the thing I want to specify here that it's most important is I'm starting at C4 and I'm going up to C7, so I don't have any crazy high notes or crazy low notes. So I'm controlling the range of the notes. I'm also controlling that they're mono. They're not. There's no polyphony here. We'll add some polyphony in a second manually, and then the note length are only variable from a half to a full step. So that's basically the only parameters that I want to use. Let's take a quick listen to what it generated. Sounds lovely, doesn't it? So let's start making sense of this and seeing how quickly we can take this mess and turn it into something that sounds actually usable. And the best way to do that is to push all these notes into scale. Right now it's just using any old notes from C4 to C7. To push it down into a scale, we'll go to the project and it will turn the scale on. I'm going to use the F minor pentatonic scale. And then I'm going to go into the effects section here and turn on my scaler. So just by doing those 2 things, all those random notes that got generated are actually going to get pushed into that scale. Let's take a listen. Right, here's that with the scaler off. And the scale off. Complete mess. Random bloops and bleeps. Right, here's the scaler on. Absolutely makes a huge difference. So what else can we do? I like to add some pedal tones, I think, to accentuate the beat here. So we're gonna go here to the bottom, all the way, and then we know that the lowest note here is C4. So anything below here will be where we want to start adding these pedal tones. Let's see. So let's add a couple of notes here. Do. Right. Just a little melody here. Let's take a listen. So maybe we'll move this one a little bit lower to maybe even lower. All right, that sounds fine to me. And then the other thing we can do is we can use a probability or a chance. And what this MIDI effects will do is it will actually make sure that the melody will be a little bit more unpredictable. So right now it's the same notes that are playing throughout. What chance will do is it will make sure that each note will basically roll a die, and we'll get a probability of being played, right? So at 100% chance, that means it will play everything. At 0%, basically nothing will get played. So let's take a look. So this is at 100%, and let's take a listen. As we bring down the probability, we're gonna start losing some notes. So this is about 50%. So this is about 25%. That means basically only a quarter of the notes that we inputted are making it through. And it's nice and sparse, nice and spacey if that's the effect that you want to go for. And that's a great way to thin out a generative sequence without messing with the individual notes. But there's a problem here because we lost, can you hear that? We lost the pedal tones, right? They're also part of the same track. You see one of them readily made it through. So we need to fix that because we lost those pedal tones. So we want the pedal tones to be always playing, but the notes themselves to come through with that probability. How can we fix this? Well, the Hapax, the chance effect, has a way to do that. It has a parameter called sync. And sync, if we turn it on, has a couple of different options. It basically creates a secondary probability for whatever is set for the sync here. So in this case, this is bar. That means that any note that falls at the beginning of the bar, right, that's the criteria for the sync, has a separate probability. And everything else is 25%. The bar notes will have a 100% chance. And as it happens, right, my pedal tones fall exactly on the beginning of the bar. So I can give those notes their own probability at 100%. So now if I press play, each of those notes should come through. And that's exactly what I wanted. So I can play with the chance again here. There we go. So that's exactly what I wanted. The pedal tones to come through, and then the melody, the actual notes themselves from C4 to C7 to have variability in them. And that'll kind of keep the melody changing and evolving over time because you'll draw from the pool of notes that are available these sort of random notes. All right, so let's bring it down to about 4. Now, this is, I think, where it's going to get interesting. If we're going to start adding drums to it, it's going to start coming to life with this sparse melody. So let's do that. What I'm doing, by the way, is I'm adding some trig probabilities to use electron speak to some of these kicks and snares at the end of the bar. Keep every bar's ending a little bit different. And then I'm adding a little bit of swing so the hi-hats here are dancing a little bit more with the beat. And then what else I can do with the hi-hats is I can actually select the whole row and then affect the probability of notes in there. All right, and then we can go track 3 and jam over it. So there we have it, folks. That's the jam for today. Hopefully this was fun and useful to see a couple of these different ways of creating generative sequences. Super easy, super quick, and it gives you a great foundation to play solo over it, play with some effects, and it keeps the melody fresh and evolving. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.